Hey guys, welcome back. It's Matt here today with another episode of Realist Hero. So, the Civil War has started, and not only the Civil War, but some outside influences as well, and as expected, Soma has concentrated his forces to dealing with one matter at a time, whilst delaying, playing a game of attrition and delaying towards the other fronts, as is a sound strategic decision here, right? So he's taking on the Air Force first, he's already caught them by surprise, and he has more surprises up his sleeve. So, let's see how the brawl, I guess you could say, with the Air Force ends up here, and then who, of course, he is going to take on next. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Excuse me. I think I muted myself in time. Not, excuse me. Well, obviously, Soma isn't gonna fight him himself, right? Nobody ever said this was a duel. Let me think a little bit. If we're already here at this point, yeah, probably one episode, yeah. Shouldn't take too much time in this fight here. Although I guess it depends on how much the studio wants to flex their actual ability in drawing fight scenes. I still like the ending better, but yeah. I guess I'm just observing the animation of the fight scenes right now. I guess it's passable. The animation. Oh, they actually really just... Huh. They completely skip through, Aisha's speech. I mean, he is a prisoner of war at this point. You know, back when I was reading this part for the first time, I was also like, I can get like if you only look at the anime here, right? You would probably think, how can Soma be so trusting of that dude, right? Oh, this scene. Man, they really. Okay, okay, he said himself. Right, and then of course back to the current time. Anyways, as I was saying, some people might think, how come he can be so trusting of just putting the entire Air Force under the command of someone who was clearly serving, uh, who was clearly serving the enemy, right? But the thing here is that because within the light novels, they have a lot of monologues, and not only monologues from Soma, but also from all the other characters as well. So we actually do know what they are thinking. So we know that they are being genuine when they say they will swear loyalty to Soma and work for him. Like I said, you know, once once we got to this point in the story, I was like, wow, so that's what the author was planning all along. I was like, man, that is so great. So they're explaining it now, right? Although I think it was quite obvious with Carmen's comments dialogue 2 episodes prior. I'm sorry, I mean Walter's dialogue 2 episodes prior. I mean, at the end of the day, Vargas still chose to raise arms, so. But yeah. Anyways, so even though in the novel it was explained only later as well, I think one big difference here is that because they built up the character of Carmiane many times already. Okay, hold on. Never mind. We can talk more about that at the end of this. Casus Belli. This is also a very common trope in, ancient military tactics, right? And it's also the title of this episode as well. Half the forces. Yeah. Hey, oh, we are actually seeing the. Okay. Okay. Ah, okay, okay. I thought that we were gonna have, one of those cases where the entire ending was seeing the aftermath as well. But anyways, I'll see you guys after this. Alright guys, so of course with this episode it is revealed that everything is going according to plan. And yeah, and this is also the point within the light novel where I really felt, okay, this is actually a much deeper work, and with much more interesting ideas being put out rather than just what we can see on the surface level, right? And I'll fully admit, at that time I was not expecting this kind of twist either in regards to Carmiane and whatnot, and how this is really just an elaborate plan in order to basically take root of weed out or root out all of the corrupt nobles, all of the corruption within the country, and basically prune it and make it clean again so that Soma can take over and then have a good foundation to build a great nation on, right? I will fully admit I did not expect that as well, although going through the entire entirety of the story up to this point, there was actually, the author actually left a lot of clues, right? And especially one thing that really stuck to my mind later on, which is, oh, so because when I saw that this was the outcome of it, I thought, oh yeah, that's cool. I never thought of that, but it actually made total logical sense, right? It did not come out of nowhere, and the reason for this is because, once again, the story actually took a lot of effort to build up Carmine's character, right? When we see Yuusha talking about Carmiane and others talking about Carmiane, it's always about, how great of a soldier he is, he's loyal, he's honorable, he's trustworthy, right? He has no real, he has no real personal greed or anything of that sort. So it really doesn't make much sense how he would actually, take up arms against Soma, and under the ruse of, oh, I just want to prove my my manliness. I want to prove that I can take over the country or something of that sort, right? It goes completely different from all the other stories and his reputation that we hear from all the other characters as well. Yuusha absolutely, I wouldn't say adores him, but really, really, really respects him, right? And so that's why I feel like without putting all of this within the anime, they simultaneously leave out the they simultaneously leave out two important points, right? When Yuusha cut her hair, it was a big thing because Soma and us, the readers, the viewers, know how much she respects Carmiane, and for her to actually take a stand at that point, cut her hair and say directly to Carmiane, look, I really, really respect you, but at this point, you're going too far. I fully 100% support Soma in this. That was such a big decision on her part, right? And then also, the flip side of that is that, you're left wondering how is it that Carmiane is doing all of this? Has he gone completely mad? Has he really, has he gone senile at his old age or something, or is he being blackmailed? Is he being threatened or whatnot? Because it's also, that's also why Vargas actually went along with this as well, right? Because he respects Carmiane so much that he can't possibly fathom Carmiane is actually doing this out of personal greed or whatnot. He trusts Carmine's judgment, right? If Carmiane thinks that Soma is not fit to be king, Vargas would say, okay, I'm your brother, and I fully respect you and your opinion, so I want to, go along with you, right? So this is, it all goes hand in hand here. So not having that is really, really harmful to the entire story. And like I said, it's because of these other monologues that we have, other dialogue that we have, understanding what the characters are thinking, understand what the other characters think of other characters as well. That also ties back into another situation here, right? The after the the aftermath of the Air Force battle, right? Why was Soma immediately willing to entrust the entirety of the Air Force, the command of the Air Force, to someone who was very clearly, Vargas is I think he's not only a second in command, he's literally part of his his family, if you will. In terms of a close advisor, close second, and basically. So, normally you would think that, hey, this guy is a traitor, can we really trust that, if we transfer command to the second in command and he's not going to do some funny stuff in order to go up against Soma or try to rescue Vargas or whatnot. But no, because we actually see the monologue from their perspective, we know that they are being very genuine in terms of upholding their end of the bargain, right? Like, literally on Vargas' side, he only takes like his closest men. Those are the only ones who actively take up arms against Soma. His second in command, he doesn't allow him to do it either, right? And he really emphasizes that he is fully trustable, and as we can see here, right, the Air Force is right now fully under Soma's control now. So it all ties together with, if you cut out a lot of the information, then some of these decisions or some of these events on screen would seem a little bit weird, right? So hopefully this can explain a little bit further on that part. And then also we have the the Carla situation and okay, actually before that, the Aisha situation. So they kind of also skipped a few lines from Aisha as well. This was actually an important scene in building Aisha's character, in that, to allow her to say what she truly feels about Soma, and also to allow Vargas to understand, like, how are the people closest to Soma, how do they think about Soma, right? We see Leisha, I guess. Honestly, I feel like the anime is sort of emphasizing Leisha's position in all of this. Like, she is, I mean, technically she is the main heroine, right? But honestly, all the other girls as well, they have their important parts, and they also have points where they profess or they have character development and whatnot in relation to Soma and so on and so forth. So this one, they kind of just went directly through it, but it is what it is, I guess. And then moving on, another scene that I guess could have been, it doesn't matter too much that it's been cut out, is when Leisha was basically trying to sell Carla to Soma, basically, and because I mean, we've already established in previous episodes, right? Leisha is willing to accept up to 8, I think, 8 wives that Soma can have, or was it 7? I kind of forgot. But and so right now she's actually wanting to push Carla to be one of Soma's wives so that she can be spared, right? And Soma is refuting her by saying that, hey, if I do this, I'm going to set a bad precedent. It means that those of royalty are able to just pardon crimes. I mean, she literally is a traitor, right? She rebelled against the state. She rebelled against the crown, against the throne. So, doing this really brings in a degree of, you could argue that it's sort of corruption in a way, because you're not really following the laws of the land, right? But I actually haven't gotten to the part where this is. I'm not gonna spoil things on what happens to her and whatnot, but so we'll talk more when we get there. I think we do have enough time to eventually kind of see like what her situation is. And that's basically it for that part. We get to, so Carmen's plan, right? I mean, I think it's pretty much explained in full, in detail here already, and Soma clearly knows about this as well. So basically, Carmen is sacrificing himself for the greater good. He believes that he's doing this so that, as I said at the beginning, laying a good foundation for Soma to really rebuild the nation into something great again, right? But well, let me think. What was I going to say here? Yeah, I don't think too much needs to be said for that part. It's quite clear, and now Soma is taking all the rest of the forces and going against the principality, right? And in this one also, there is, once again, you kind of get the feeling that the author is drawing on a lot of ancient military tactics or strategies or whatnot. In fact, the title of this episode is actually also an idiom, in a sort of idiom in terms of military strategy. It's basically saying that you are willing to sacrifice a part to in order to, for the greater good, basically. Sacrifice a small part to achieve the full mission, to achieve the the truest, most important thing and whatnot. And so I think you can it can be implied here that it's actually Carmiane sacrificing himself for the greater good, you know, that kind of thing. Or you could also say that he's in another sort of interpretation of that idiom, it's that he's the one who is he's willing to accept all the you know, bad things, right? Except the guilts and the punishments for everything that happened over here for the greater good. Basically, he's sacrificing himself for the nation. That's basically it, right? So yeah. And not only that though, but for instance, the tactic or the strategy that Soma used here in terms of, you know, not actually going to the defense of that city, but instead going on a counterattack and directly attacking the capital, right? That's also a very common you know, military idiom as well, right? Where you attack another place of strategic value in order to force the enemy forces to you know, to go back and rescue the more important, the more strategic and valuable kind of target here, right? So it's also a common trope throughout military history, especially in Chinese military history, which I do feel that the author is drawing a lot of inspiration from. And so we have that situation here. Obviously, by the end of this episode, we already see that Soma has taken over the capital city and is now about to have a showdown with the rest of the forces on the battlefield, right? So, you know, we got that to go through. And then you know, what else? I don't want to spoil anything else at this point, but all I can say is yeah, I mean, everything is just going according to plan, and you really need to, like, you know, there's limited things that can go wrong, I guess you could say. I mean, does that count as a spoiler? I mean, technically, right, Soma, we already know that this is a sort of like an isekai work, and Soma has the knowledge of the modern world, of history, of all the, you know, all the works and everything that happened throughout in history at his disposal, right? He's supposed to be overpowered in the sense that he knows more, his knowledge is more more complete, and he should be able to get out of these situations unscathed. So it really only the only real deviation here is how he can make it go through, right? And you know, it is like, once again, the fact that this is how the outcome of this entire civil war is, like this is the outcome that came from it, and this is the full context of the story and the background and whatnot. It gave me a lot of respect for this work. So I don't know, maybe you guys can disagree on this point, but in any case, I'm glad that we got to this point, and hopefully people will also look at the story at this point and say, oh yeah, this is really interesting, right? And don't be, and I hope you guys won't be sort of like startled or worried that it's sort of like a Deus Ex Machina, you know, just inserting some sort of convenient plot device to explain things away. But no, the author actually put in a lot of hints to this, and so you're actually looking at this work and you're saying, huh, wow, the author actually left these hints all the way early on, and not more like how this author is just trying to do things differently for the sake of doing things differently, right? But yeah, anyways, I think that's pretty much it for this episode, and we got 2 more episodes left. Obviously, we got a big battle coming up next episode, and let's see what the aftermath of this, and I'm not really sure what we are going to do in episode 13. I highly doubt that they're going to draw out the war for 2 episodes. We'll have to see about that. I don't really think so, because as we can see from this episode as well, animating battle scenes and animating fighting scenes is clearly not this studio's forte, right? And probably not the emphasis of this work at all. So I'm expecting some pretty quick battles, and then dealing more with the administrative and other works of, you know, what it's like to, you know, win over the capital of an enemy country, and who knows, potentially making it a vassal, integrating completely within the country, within the current country, or perhaps just getting enough reparations in terms of monetary relief and food and supplies and so on and so forth, right? I'm not gonna spoil things as to how Soma is gonna handle that. We'll just have to see then. So yeah, there we go. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.